In the northeastern corner of Bulgaria, nestled in nature's embrace, lies a hidden village. Krepcha is set in a valley, carved by the Bashpunar stream, surrounded by gentle hills. The stream winds its way into the Cherny Lom River. Located about 20 kilometers north of the town of Popovo, the village is divided into two neighborhoods, Upper and Lower Krepcha. The land of Krepcha is steeped in history. Ancient and medieval fortresses, settlements, and necropolises turn this area into an open-air museum. The village is bordered by the villages of Garchinovo, Lublin, Golyamo Gradište, Gorsko Ablanovo, and the town of Opaka. Krepcha is connected to these neighboring settlements by paved roads. Today, with a population of around 1,300, it is a village inhabited solely by Bulgarian Turks. The name Krepcha first appears in history in the palace chronicle Cihan-nüma by the Ottoman historian Mehmed Neshri. In his account, the settlement is referred to as Krapchan, or the city of Krapets, described as one of the key defensive fortresses under the rule of Tsar Ivan Shishman. During the Second Bulgarian Kingdom, this fortress served as a significant feudal center, both strategically and economically. In the Middle Ages, it controlled a vital route that started from the city of Cherven, passed through what is now the village of Lublin, followed the course of the Kalikoch stream, and reached Nikiup. The city of Krapets was conquered in 1388 during a military campaign led by Ottoman commander Ali Pasha. Some of the surviving locals laid the foundation of what would become the present-day village of Krepcha, a deeply rooted beginning. Though the settlement was relocated and rebuilt several times over the centuries, it remained within the same geographic area. In the past, numerous watermills lined the banks of the streams and rivers, harmonizing with the rhythm of nature. Following the Ottoman conquest of Bulgarian lands, the village became part of a Zayamet unit called Garapich until the early 16th century. It later lost its administrative importance and was annexed to the Kaza of Hezargrad, present-day Razgrad. In Ottoman tax records dated 1524, the village was listed as Dolna Krepche, noted at the time as an entirely Bulgarian settlement. This remained the case until the late 17th century. In 1598, it was recorded as Krapek, and by 1635, it had become known as Krepcha. The exact location of the medieval fortress of Krapets, near Krepcha and Opaka, remains uncertain to this day. Researchers consider two main possibilities. One theory suggests that the Gradište fortress in the village of Garchinovo and the Krepcha fortress once formed a single medieval city. The second, and more widely supported theory, places this central settlement at a site called Riakata in the Opaka region, the ruins of what locals call the Great Fortress. This view is backed by archaeological remains discovered in the area. Near the village, in a place known as Bashpunar, archaeologists from the Targovishte Museum unearthed a necropolis containing graves dating from the 12th to the 15th centuries. These graves are believed to belong to the former inhabitants of a long-lost village called Kamenna Cherkva, or Stone Church. This settlement is thought to have been located either near the Rock Monastery or close to the medieval Krapets fortress. Just outside the village of Krepcha, 20 kilometers from the town of Popovo in northern Bulgaria, a hidden secret rests in the heart of the cliffs that reach for the sky, the Krepcha Rock Monastery. Located just 2 kilometers from the village center on the road to Golyamo Gradište, the monastery rises to the right. More than just a place of worship, it is a book of history, carved in stone, sealed with prayer, a tunnel through time. Believed to have been founded in the 9th or 10th century, the monastery is carved into a 3-level terrace system. Among the rocks lie the cells of monks, a monastic church, and a burial chapel. On the walls are nearly 20 inscriptions written in the early Cyrillic alphabet. One of them may be the oldest known inscription ever carved in Cyrillic, dated to the year 921 AD. It is recognized as the earliest epigraphic document, that is, the first text inscribed in stone using the Cyrillic script. The inscription reads, "Year 6430, in the month of October, God's servant Anton passed away." This sentence marks not just the death of a monk, but the echo of an era. For this Anton, or Antoine, died 25 years before Saint Ivan of Rila, and 6 years after the death of Tsar Simeon. He was a contemporary of both saints and kings, and who knows, perhaps he was the first to hear their prayers whispered into the silence. Another inscription reads, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit." Here lies the just father, Anton. Whoever builds a granary in this church shall answer before God. Written by the unworthy Mihail. Amen. These words are not just a warning. Perhaps they are a call to faith, to humility, to the reverence of sacred places. And the fact that Anton is referred to as a saint in the inscription suggests that, in the eyes of the people, he attained holiness after death. To this day, the Bulgarian Orthodox Church still debates whether or not to canonize Anton as a saint. Perhaps one day, another voice will rise from within the silence of this stone monastery. But the walls bear more than just Cyrillic letters. Some inscriptions are carved in Hebrew script, others in mysterious runic signs, suggesting that this monastery was not only a spiritual haven, but also a multicultural intellectual center. In other words, these stones whisper not only prayers, but knowledge too. Though time, wind, and neglect have worn down much of the monastery, recent years have seen it slowly rise again, thanks to joint restoration projects under the FARE program, carried out by the municipalities of Lozanica, Popovo, and Opaka. Today, visitors can walk through the middle terrace, where the monastery church and its unique inscriptions remain on display. And let us not forget, the Krepcha Monastery is not merely the ruin of a stone building. It holds the first written line that echoes in the shared memory of over 250 million people who use the Cyrillic alphabet. And that line reads, "Year 921. In the month of October, God's servant Anton passed away." A whisper echoing through the depths of time, still alive, still speaking through the stones on these walls. About 3 kilometers southwest of Krepcha Village, along the winding curves of the road to Golyamo Gradishta, it greets you. The Jin Fortress, known among locals as the Fortress of Spirits. Mysterious, as its name suggests. Silent, as its name whispers. Perched on a high promontory, at the summit of a rise called Kale Bayer, Fortress Hill. Below, the Kalikok stream snakes its way through the valley, and not far ahead, the Bashpunar stream gently joins its flow. Where the waters meet, another silent meeting takes place, that of time and memory. The fortress dates back to the end of the Byzantine era, into the twilight of late antiquity. Its shape is irregular, yet strong, stretching from northwest to southeast. Its walls were built from large stone blocks, bound with mortar and mixed with broken brick. Now covered in moss and roots, these stones once held a world within them. Renowned archaeologist Karol Skorpil noted that the eastern side of the fortress had an entrance, guarded by a rectangular tower. On the southern wall, traces of 3 towers can still be seen, though their shapes have long faded into the landscape. There was likely another gate here, opening into the inner side of Kale Bayer, where the hill offers the gentlest ascent. The fortress had two secret paths. One descended into the Kalakok Valley below. The other circled the western slope and led south to another stronghold, known as the Great Fortress, or the Fortress by the Stream. Two fortresses, two souls, two silent sentinels. Perhaps once long ago, they stood watch for the same kingdom. Today, sadly, the heart of the fortress lies pierced, scarred by treasure hunters' relentless digging. Their marks stretch westward, across the outer slopes, and deep into the southeastern walls. In some places, the very foundations of ancient walls rise from the earth like weary bones. At the center, the collapsed remains of what was once a great structure now rest as a mound of soil, a silent scream of a building long gone. Today, the ruins of Jin Fortress lie cradled in the arms of a young forest. Broad-leaved trees and tangled shrubs conceal the stones, and the silence is thick, almost sacred. But from the northern tip of the fortress, a miracle unfolds. A breathtaking view opens toward Golyamo Gradishte, as if time itself still lingers, holding its breath. Declared a cultural monument by the Bulgarian state in 1969, this fortress is more than mere stones and mortar. It tells of a civilization's outermost borders, of watchful soldiers standing guard, and perhaps of a forgotten love echoing between the walls. And its name, Jin Fortress, the Fortress of Spirits, whispers that this place was never just home to people, but perhaps to the spirits of the past as well. Head southwest from Krepcha, toward the hills where sunlight dances with shadows. After about 5 kilometers, in the wild and forgotten stretch of nature known as Riakata, another silent hero rises on the horizon, the Great Fortress. Known by the locals as the Riverside Fortress, Büyük Kale. Built upon a high promontory, the fortress overlooks the left bank of the Kalakok River. Here, the stones defy not just nature, but history itself. Its shape is like a blade, buried deep like a dagger plunged into the earth. The site covers more than 5 acres, but time stretches its memory even further. Because here, a city has gone quiet. From the west and south, it is accessible, but fiercely protected by walls over 2 meters thick. To the east, no human hands are needed. Nature guards the way, steep cliffs, deep ravines, and hidden caves. Perhaps divine defenses, gifted by the hand of God. On the southern wall, there once stood a gate. Beside it, a tower. And from that tower, a path descended toward the Kalakok River. It was more than just a road. It was a lifeline. And perhaps after the rain, the polished stones echoed with the footsteps of soldiers long gone. But this fortress was not only a military stronghold, it was a place of faith. Along the slopes of the hill, carved into 2 levels of terraces, lay a vast rock monastery complex. Even today, the man-made caves still stand, once offering shade to shepherds and sanctuary to monks. These caves were not mere shelters. They were bridges between solitude and the divine. Research suggests that this fortress was destroyed between 1388 and 1389 during the Ottoman advance. Krapets, one of Tsar Ivan Shishman's frontier strongholds. Once vast enough to be called a city, it later became a citadel, a final point of resistance. Now, only stones remain, but each one whispers a fragment of the past. Sadly, for the past 2 decades, treasure hunters have scarred this sacred place. Towers, walls, and ancient structures, all now buried beneath pits and mounds of disturbed earth. And yet, beneath the soil, the city still slumbers, waiting to be discovered or to be forgotten forever. Today, The young forest that embraces the fortress feels like a shroud. Nature both protects and conceals history. But know this: the stones do not remain silent. The walls still speak of a people, a faith, and a fall. There is a village, a place where the wind whispers like ancient legends, where the earth hides the traces of the past, and the sky is filled with hope. Krepcha. In this land, not only trees grow, but stories too. Beneath the silent shadows of stone fortresses, time begins to slow, and nature, with its own rhythm, gently wraps around your heart. The birdsong drifting through young oaks, the cool breeze slicing through the morning hush of the Kalikoch stream, and that indescribable peace flowing down from the hills. But Krepcha is not just history, not merely a past sleeping in ruins or memories carved in stone. Krepcha is a living poem. In its air lingers a quiet serenity, and in its people, a warm smile always waits. The people here rise with the morning sun and confide in the stars at night. Their hearts are open, their tables abundant. And you know, some places don't just raise a person, they make them shine like a star. Just like Ahmet Emin Atasoy, a poet, a writer born from the soul of this village. With his words, he wove the land like fine thread, and with his pen, turned love for the homeland into poetry. A literary soldier who built a bridge from the Balkans to Anatolia with his language. And another shining star, Nurgul Salimova, a world chess champion born from Krepcha's silence, who brought storms to chessboards across the globe. With her moves, she showed the elegance of intelligence. With her spirit, she carried the soul of Krepcha. She plays not just with pieces, but with determination and resolve. Krepcha, with civilizations sleeping in its ancient stones and young hearts looking to the future with hope, it is both a beginning and a story that will never end.